Go ahead and put this radar into motion for you. You can see the development has been rapid as we move through the last hour or so across much of eastern Iowa. Certainly the atmosphere was ready for that, and as a result we do have that tornado warning now in effect. We've had many reports of small little funnel clouds, those certainly not strong enough to produce any warnings, but now again with the radar indicated rotation within the storm, that's the area we're watching. The spot right now that you can see, particularly in the Hale area right here, this is the area of rotation that right now has been issued across the area. Let's just check out the additional tornado warning that has been issued. See where that is. That is for portions of Linn County. So this is the one near Hale right now. You need to be in a safe place. Let's go to that second tornado warning. This would be across southern areas of Linn County, particularly it looks like in the Bertram area. That also is a radar indicated or observed tornado. An observed tornado in that area. Confirmed tornado located near Ely and is nearly stationary. Weather spotters confirm a tornado in that area. Matt from the National Weather Service, that tornado warning for southeastern Linn County, particularly near Ely right now, that's where we are watching for an observed tornado that could cause some damage. Let's take a look at the velocity within that storm as well. And we've got the storm rotating a bit, maybe not quite as much as we saw in the area, but what we're watching is this area just off to the northeast of Ely. That's where a confirmed tornado by weather spotters has been found. Tornado is near Ely in the Palisades-Kepler State Park, 5:35 or so. Movement on that storm is off to, it's nearly stationary. So they've been moving very slowly to the east, right around 15 miles per hour as that movement has continued on some of the cells. So along with the potential for a tornado, also we need to keep in mind that heavy rains are possible with any of these storms as well. So those of you near Ely and those of you near Hale right now in Jones County, those are the two areas we are watching as these storms continue to evolve and develop across eastern Iowa as we speak. Let's go ahead and take a close look at radar. We have another severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued. We'll pinpoint the line. In the north, not worried about that line at all. It's the line that's right along a boundary that extends from southern Jackson County back through southern areas of Jones, northern areas of Cedar, into Johnson County, and then farther back off toward the west as we head farther back toward Mahaska County, Keokuk, Poweshiek County. Those are the areas right now seeing that line developing, all producing the possibility certainly of some very heavy rains, but also now two areas that we're watching, and you see they're very small areas of rotation, but two areas where we see that possibility that we could see a tornado. One, an observed tornado by weather spotters. Funnel clouds earlier, now touching the ground. This would be in Linn County. It stretches from near Ely. North of that box is near Bertram right now. We're going to stop the radar and put on a little better look at what the radar picture looks like in that area. And you can kind of see this area right here, this little notch kind of where that moves in near Highway 30, just off to the southeast of Bertram. That could be an area right now where we're watching that potential tornado across, again, far southeastern areas of Linn County. That's in effect until 6 o'clock. If you're in that area, make sure you get to your safe spot. And let's go ahead and widen the picture out for you and take a look at Jones County. Now we're looking at the storm that's now just near the Hale area, over toward County Road E45. Earlier had some good velocity signature on it. Still does as well, as we can see. Let's just move that a little farther north and highlight it for you. Kind of the area right here we're watching very carefully as that storm just is more moving near and north of County Road E53. So if you're in those areas, certainly you want to be in your safe areas. Keep that in mind as those storms move through. The potential is there. I haven't heard strong wind reports yet, but certainly the possibility is there for a tornado within those storms as well. Wide view right now across eastern Iowa, and we'll go ahead and bring our kind of normal radar picture up for you. The line has formed, and again, it's along a boundary just south of the Cedar Rapids area, far southern Linn County and northern Jones, just beginning to enter now areas of Iowa and Poweshiek County, extending, as we can see, across areas of Jones and Cedar County. As we put that into motion, that line is kind of moving in that same area or remaining basically stationary. As that occurs, the storm is staying in one spot, so some heavy rain can certainly be possible. We've talked about the potential that we do have for some flash flooding in the area as well. So if you are in Lynn County near the Ely area or Jones County near the Hale area right now, and we'll get those closer up for you right now, we do have some safety rules we want to run down for you because you need to be in your safe areas. There you see they both last until 6 o'clock. So the one box near the Hale area is just off to the west of Oxford Junction. Then we head farther into Lynn County, the storm near the Bertram area, also again prompting that tornado warning. So when tornado warnings are issued, you need to get to a safe place. The safest place you can be, of course, is in the lowest level that you can safely. This would be in your basement. When you go down to that basement, make sure you take something with you like your bike helmet. Get under something sturdy, cover yourself with blankets or pillows, and wait for that storm to pass. As that storm passes, then we'll let you know. You can get out. If that warning is done, you can get out and be safely assured that you'll stay safe in the area that you're in. Cover with blankets, pillows, avoid windows, doors, and outside walls. If no basement is available, a small interior room is where you want to be as that storm moves through. And again, getting a couple of funnel cloud pictures in as well from folks, just kind of showing the cloud that's moving through Lynn County right now. I've had no reports so far of any damage reports or any confirmed touchdown, although we did have in Lynn County, the weather spotters confirmed that tornado did touch down at least briefly. Some large hail within that storm as well. Do have a report of 1.25 inch hail from that same storm in far southern into areas of western Cedar County. So certainly something we expected to happen in the sense of strong storms. You certainly know it because the atmosphere was ready with the fact that we did have dew points all day long in the middle to upper 70s. Afternoon highs were in the 90s, and it was just absolutely perfect and ready for that storm to develop. So again, a couple of areas, and we do want to also let you know there's a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings. One that extends from just south of the city of Cedar Rapids all the way back just north of Iowa City. It'll include most of Cedar County and head farther in far southern Jones County. That's a severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect. That'll also be in effect until probably about 6 or 6:30. A little farther off to the west, the storms that are moving toward Iowa County right now out of Poweshiek County, also under a severe thunderstorm warning. That also will be in effect until about 6 o'clock. So for about the next 24 minutes or so, we'll be watching those storms continue to push across eastern Iowa. Numerous pictures coming in as well. Just got a new picture in that shows the potential tornado in the Ely area, a small thin funnel. Again, have had no reports. I don't know if we have one of our funnel pictures from earlier that we can pull up too. If you're in the booth, Tristan, if you can get those ready, that would be great to take a look at. So from areas just across near Lisbon, through Mechanicsville, over to Clarence right now, be aware, strong storm moving through, very, very heavy rains. Look at how the movement is not moving at all. They're staying stationary in that same location, and I would expect some very, very heavy rains to be found within these storms as well. And again, there's that potential that some of the storms could certainly have some rotation on them, and that's why the tornado warning was issued in 2 spots. And you notice they go until 6 o'clock, small areas of Jones County. This is south of the city of Wyoming. This was radar indicated earlier. We're going to go ahead and stop the radar and take a look at what we can find inside that storm itself. A little bit of rotation still in that same area. Again, with the little or stationary movement with this storm, a bit of rotation still showing up to the south of Hale. So that's why that warning still remains in effect until 6 o'clock. I've had no confirmed reports out of Jones County at all in the storm. And quite honestly, storm tracking this, really not able to because it's not moving. So it's in that same area. If you're in that warning area, you certainly want to be on the lookout for the storm that's moving through. It continues to push very stationary in that area with very, very heavy rains through Jones into northern areas of Cedar County. It eventually moved down farther to the south. We kind of widen the picture out and take a look at the second tornado warning that's in effect. Here we go, Bertram all the way to northern areas of Johnson County. So it does not include any of Johnson County, does not include the city of Cedar Rapids, Palisade Kepler State Park, certainly included within that. Let's take a look at the velocity within that storm as well. Again, a little bit muddled, not as great as it was earlier. Could be a little small rotation in spots, certainly, with that storm. I've had no additional reports from the Lynn County storm. Certainly, as we showed you earlier, the Jones County storm, a little bit more rotation in there. So that's the one that potentially could have a tornado, although nothing has been confirmed in that area near the Hale area in Jones County. Did you say we had some pictures to take a look at of some of the funnel that we had? This is from North Liberty, looking toward the northwest, some video that came in. That could be the storm itself that was warned on as it moved through portions of southern Lynn, looking over to the northwest. That could be that storm that had a tornado that was reported by a weather spotter in the Ely area. Continuing to move off now again. Away from that video, as we can see again, not as much rotation showing up in this storm as we had earlier, but we'll continue to watch that very carefully as we do move through the next half hour or so as that storm moves through. Train spotter reporting, yep, that was a tornado back at 5:28. 2 miles north of Ely, so that was the storm we were certainly taking a look at, and that's why that warning was issued for that area, which is again very, very near the Ely area, now moving just away. Bertram, right along Highway 1, as it heads a little bit farther toward the east, toward Lisbon, not included in the tornado warning, Lisbon, but you are included in the severe thunderstorm warning that remains in effect. The one that has the better rotation in it right now is in areas of Jones County, particularly just south of the Hale area. Let's go ahead and look once again at the velocity in that. And again, you can continue to see some rotation in the area in that same area. So certainly could have a tornado in it. That's just north of County Road E53 and just off to the east of the city of Olin. We'll continue to keep an eye on that. Let's widen the picture out for you now. And I don't know if we can go and we can put our city cam and Max 2 in the lower corner of the picture. We do have Cedar Rapids up, I believe, so we can kind of watch those storms as well. There we go. You can see kind of that lowering of the base. In fact, let's kind of switch them right now if we can, and just take a look at our Cedar Rapids city cam a little bit larger, and you'll be able to see that storm we're looking at in the distance, looking off toward the west and southwest of the city of Cedar Rapids from Mount Mercy University. You can see that we have the base of that thunderstorm there. Nothing that we can see out of the base of that storm at all, but certainly a again, thunderstorm that we'll watch stay south of the city of Cedar Rapids, again, stressing that, but moving into areas of Johnson and staying in areas of Johnson County and points farther off to the south and off to the east. Funnel cloud reports now near Collins Road. This is the picture that you're seeing right there over on Collins Road. So certainly, again, some of those thin funnels that are out there in spots. Again, we've had one that touched the ground apparently near the Ely area from a trained spotter. And we have one not touching the ground, as we know, but certainly could be embedded within it in Jones County, so that's why the two warnings do remain in effect. Until 6 p.m., both of our warnings are in effect for a small portion of Lynn County and a very small portion of Johnson County as well, as these storms are remaining basically stationary in that area. This is a line that's along a boundary that extends from southern Jackson County through southern Lynn into northern areas of Iowa County and heading back toward areas very near Des Moines over in Polk County. Just taking a look at the Weather Service right now as far as the warning is concerned. Tornado warning does remain in effect for southeastern Jones County, as we've been showing you. The tornado located near Hale, 7 miles northeast of Stanwood, and again is mainly stationary. Weather spotters do now report a funnel cloud with that storm. So that was issued on radar indicated rotation earlier, now reporting a funnel cloud as well. Understand we have a picture now from the Ely area of the storm that is prompted the Lynn County tornado warning that is currently in effect. Again, that's in the Ely area, likely that same storm and same funnel cloud that touched down and prompted the tornado warning. There were numerous funnels out there, and really what we needed was a larger, more organized storm system to move in. And as those thunderstorms organize more, those small little funnels that we talked about, again, did touch ground. As of right now, no damage reports that we've heard of, and we certainly hope that continues across all of eastern Iowa. That slow movement, though, is really going to lead to some heavy areas of rain in some spots as well. We'll just put this into motion for you and leave the warnings on, and you'll see basically stationary in that same area right along that boundary. So certainly continuing to watch that very, very carefully. I don't know if we want to move around the Cedar Rapids City Cam a little bit, kind of take a look at what we can see. We'll continue to monitor that as well and watch it very carefully as we can to see if we can see anything coming out of that storm as we look farther down to the south of Cedar Rapids toward that storm that we had the warning put out for the Ely area. So again, Heavy rains right now in areas of southern Jones, northern areas of Cedar County, back into southern Lynn, northern Johnson County, and just beginning to enter Iowa County right now. 3 warnings in effect in the TV9 viewing area. We do, of course, have the tornado warning in effect for the small portion of Jones County in the Hale area. We also have a warning in effect near the Ely and Bertram area. That tornado warning is in effect once again, both of them, until 6 o'clock tonight. And finally, we do have also a severe thunderstorm warning that continues across most of Cedar, areas of Johnson, far southeastern Lynn, and far southern Jones County. That will be in effect until 6:30. So that's going to be in effect until 6:30 with the slow movement. That's the severe thunderstorm warning. Again, that large orange box that you see on the screen. We're just kind of moving our Cedar Rapids City Cam around just to kind of take a look. I understand we may have a DOT cam to take a look at as well at some point in time. Top right of the screen, we're looking at Highway 30 at Edgewood Road. Certainly seeing some of the dark conditions, possibly a little funnel showing up right there where you see the mouth that's moving. So again, the small funnel clouds are certainly possible. Many of them not touching the ground and not causing damage, but a couple have. And we have had reports of funnel clouds or touchdowns in both of the warnings that have been issued about 15 minutes or so ago. We've got another 14 minutes or so to go in the warnings that do extend across areas of far southern Jones as well as southern areas of Lynn County. No additional warnings have been issued. For those of you just joining us and want to see the entire radar picture, northern Iowa, not worried at all about that activity, just some isolated light shower activity or sprinkles. It's really along and south of Highway 30. That we'll continue to watch very carefully. These storms continue to move, and we used Highway 30 kind of as the spot we thought these would start to develop, and indeed that has been the case and will continue to be the case as we move through the next several hours before that whole system moves off to the south as we head through our nighttime hours tonight. Severe thunderstorm watch does continue for the areas we can see along that same area. Damaging wind. There could be some large hail as well. We have had some reports of 1.25 inch hail out of some of the storms in areas of southern Lynn or northern areas of Johnson County a bit earlier from that same cell that prompted a tornado warning near the Ely area. So that is a possibility. And that chance of an isolated tornado, the larger threat as this kind of continues to move, could be from some damaging winds as well. In areas of Cedar County, also have had some 1-inch hail reports. So certainly severe thunderstorms ongoing. As far as any damage reports, again, no damage to report at this time. But of course, our TV9 News crews are on it and are continuing to watch that very carefully and will let us know if we do experience any damage across eastern Iowa. Hopefully none at all. That's exactly what we would like to see. Let's go ahead back to the DOT cams right now, and you can see that that's near Highway 30 again. So that's Highway 30. On the right-hand side of your picture, you can see near the Cedar Rapids area. Again, there certainly is that funnel cloud very evident in the picture that you see off on the right side of the screen. So heed the warning that is in effect. See a funnel cloud, stay away from it. Some of those could be touching the ground at times, so certainly want to watch that as careful as we can. And again, we're finding them in many areas. That's likely that same warned storm as we move right along Highway 30 from southern Lynn into areas of Cedar County. Eventually, that could have a few more funnels along it too. That would not be out of the question. Just to pinpoint once again the 2 warnings that we do have in effect. Notice the one in Jones County. Let's go ahead and take a look at the velocity in that storm right now and see what we have. Again, certainly some rotation. That same area, it really hasn't changed positions at all. Same area seeing some rotation in the Hale area just off to the south and southwest of the city of Hale. That's the area that was warned earlier. That still continues to exhibit some rotation. County Road E53 once again, just off to the east of Olin, just off to the west of Oxford Junction. Those are the areas to be aware of as that storm continues to produce potential rotation and again, the potential for a tornado in that storm. We look farther off toward the west and Bertram, all the way, not including Ely, but we can see that we have that same tornado warning in effect for that area. We certainly have had some funnel cloud reports and 1 touchdown report 2 miles north of Ely as that storm was moving through. Have had some pictures that have come in of many funnel clouds across eastern Iowa, basically within the last hour to hour and a half. Many of them not causing any damage as well, very small funnels. The atmosphere set up just perfectly to allow that to happen. And again, we continue to watch them. And if these get stronger, potentially severe, then we are going to be coming on with warnings. And indeed, that's the case in what we have right now. I wonder if we can take a look at, let's see. Take a look at our Solon or our Tipton city cam. Just take a look at what's going on in those communities. Our city cams give us great ways that we can take a look at storms as they're moving across eastern Iowa in many locations. Neither of those, again, are under any type of tornado warning, but both areas, both Solon and Tipton, under a severe thunderstorm warning as those cells continue to move through. As far as lightning, let's take a look at that while we're getting our city cam up. See what kind of lightning we have. That's the Solon city cam right now. So again, you can see in the distance as we look off, certainly the thunderstorm out there just off to the north and northwest, or northeast rather, of the city of Solon as it continues to move slowly toward the south. An additional tornado warning has been issued. This tornado warning is now in effect in the Sutliff area, so this is a new one based on that same cell that was moving across areas of southern Linn County just moments ago. This is for portions of Cedar, Johnson, and Linn County. That'll be in effect until 6:30. That tornado warning itself, take a look at the Weather Service and see exactly what that tornado warning has been issued. Radar, it is radar indicated, so it is a radar indicated until 6:30. Again, areas of Cedar County, northeastern Johnson, southeastern Linn. That's the area that is the same severe thunderstorm that produced a potential tornado in the Mount Vernon area, 9 miles west of Mechanicsville. It's moving southeast now, they say, at 5 miles per hour. So again, movement just slow on these storms as well. Maybe want to take a look at the Mount Vernon city cam, Jackson. Let's pop that up and see what we're looking at as well. I understand we have another picture we were going to take a look at from the Ely area before, as that first warning was issued. Again, taking a look at that, you've seen so many pictures of the funnel cloud that's been out there. And again, in the Ely area, touched the ground, and that's why that tornado warning was issued as that storm continued to move through. Go ahead and put the velocity on. And again, it looks like we do see some more rotation in the storm now that we haven't seen before. It was just soupy the entire day across eastern Iowa, and we were just kind of waiting to see what would happen as these storms move through. So certainly a warning right now that you do need to heed. This would be just south of the Lisbon area. Let's go ahead and pinpoint some locations for you. It's just south of Highway 30. It does include Sutliff. Extends down just off to the northwest rather, of Cedar Bluff, just to the north of Solon. Extending along Highway 1 as it intersects Highway 30. So again, this is just south of Lisbon right now. That's the area that's seeing some of that rotation within the box that we show you, the tornado warning that continues until 6:30. Radar indicated, but we again have had tornadoes in eastern Iowa so far, and that has been warned on. And that's why it has been, because we are seeing that rotation continue across portions now of northern Johnson. Does not include Iowa City. Southeastern Linn. This does not include Cedar Rapids, and just a small section of Cedar County as well, moving again southeast at about 5 miles per hour. So very, very slow movement. Earlier the storms moving at 15, then they've remained stationary for a period of time, and now they continue to move very, very slowly. Let's widen the picture and kind of give you a look on that line. We do have some flash flood warnings in effect just outside the TV9 viewing area, across areas of Jackson as well as areas of Clinton County. Potential for certainly some flash flooding in the storms across eastern Iowa as well as they continue to move down toward the south very, very slowly. Just beginning to move along Interstate 80 near the Williamsburg area. That storm earlier prompted a tornado warning in Jasper County, now moving into areas of Iowa County. Iowa City right now, just to your north and northwest, we have some development that we'll continue to watch. And then as we look farther back off toward the east, again, moving through southern Linn, far southern Jones, and into mostly Cedar, as well as the far northeastern section of Johnson County. That's the severe thunderstorms that have prompted the 2 tornado warnings that are in effect. Again, one lasting until 6 o'clock, the rotation that's seen in the Jones County warning as of right now. I've not seen anything from the Weather Service to indicate that that will be extended or changed, but because the rotation continues across that storm that moved out of the Ely area earlier, 2 miles north of Ely with the tornado report, that will continue until 6:30, and it does include the city of Sutliff, does not include the city of Solon, does not include the city of Lisbon, but certainly some stronger cells moving through the Lisbon area right now, likely with some heavy rain. I was going to take a look at lightning earlier, and then we had some warnings come out. Let's go ahead and take a look at how the lightning is within the storm itself, and once again, an indication that a stronger storm, certainly, as we can see. Let's put that into motion with the lightning, and certainly we'll widen out the picture a little bit for you. There you go. You can certainly see that these storms have some strengths with them. Plenty of lightning within the storm as well as they move across. Mainly Cedar County right now. That would be the one area that is seeing most of this cell with some strong and gusty winds likely out ahead of it as well as it slowly moves in. Rainfall totals from this storm likely will be high. In fact, just take a look at the precipitation rate that we're seeing from these storms right now. And it is very, very heavy in some spots. Sometimes that rain falling at about 1.5 inches per hour, so that could result in some heavy rains very, very quickly. That's again across areas of Cedar County, the far southeastern areas of Lynn County reporting about 1 inch or 1.25 inches, again radar estimates of how much precipitation is falling fast across that area, and that's why that flash flood watch is in effect farther toward the south as well as these storms continue to evolve and move farther south across portions of eastern Iowa. You're looking at the Mount Vernon City Cam right now. One area that we are seeing, again, some heavier areas of rain moving through, it looks like. I don't know if we can go full screen on that and take a look and swap them out a little bit. Yeah, some heavy areas of rain moving through, as we can see. A darkening of the sky, of course, with that storm that continues to move through. The storm itself not under any type of tornado warning in the Mount Vernon area, but that severe thunderstorm warning certainly does continue. And it's one line right along a boundary that is set up from Omaha just into Jackson County. Kind of to draw a line, you can see the thunderstorms that are developing along that boundary. And with that, we are finding the potential for some severe threats. As of right now, no damage reports again. Just want to continue to pass that along, which is good news. But if you are in the warning area for the next 3.5 minutes across areas of Jones County, this would be south of the Hale area. You want to be in your safe place. We mentioned County Road E53 many times. We're along County Road X64. Make sure you're in your safe place for the next 3 minutes or so, and certainly you want to be in your safe area in the Sutliff area right now, just off to the northeast of the city of Solon, as we continue to watch that storm move through with, once again, tornado warning that does continue for about the next 34 minutes across eastern Iowa. Meteorologist Corey Thompson joins me. Corey, thanks for taking a nap and coming in and helping out with coverage. It was something that you would have seen this morning already that was likely to happen.
Yeah, we expected storms to develop, but you could feel it when you stepped outside. Dew points well into the 70s, temperatures in the 90s. Oh, yeah. Hard not to get a storm with that when you have a cold front moving in, and that's what happened. But exactly. the atmosphere is not the classic kind of atmosphere to produce a tornado, which is what you've been talking about all evening. We do have the right ingredients to sort of take some ambient spin in the atmosphere, turn it vertical. And that's where we're getting these funnel clouds from. I saw one on the way in. Thin, very rope-like, very bright white.
Many times don't touch the ground or touch the ground at all.
Yeah, it didn't look like it was even close to touching the ground, but it was there. And it dissipated between the time I got on the interstate and by the time I got off. So it was there. But that's certainly a possibility. And we did have that report of one touching the ground. That's when you have to treat it with respect.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Now let's go ahead, if we can put our city cam back in there, and Corey's going to do a little analysis on the storm as he continues to take a look as well. But again, for the next 32 minutes or so, we're going to be with you. Let's switch our city cam over to our Tipton city cam. Let's see what we've got on that. Jax, if you want to take a look. Just to see how it's looking in that area. Cedar County covered by that. We've had some hail reports, at least hail estimates, 1 inch or greater hail in these storms as they've continued to push across areas of Lynn as well as portions of Cedar County as well. We showed you the precipitation as far as the rainfall amounts. Again, very heavy rains very quickly moving through some areas. Continuing to watch those storms evolve and move to the south.
If you want to take a look at Max 3, we can look at some of the velocity views here. And as Joe's been picking out and pointing out correctly, the velocity signatures aren't super clear. They're not super wide either, but there are a couple of areas that we're keeping an eye on. The National Weather Service is as well. Just south of the Mount Vernon area near Lisbon, looks like the primary threat area at this point. Again, the latest is radar indicated from the National Weather Service, so they haven't had fresh reports of anything out that way. But that would be the area that we're looking at. Let's change the view here real quick. Yeah, not much difference there between the two views. That is the portion of the storm that we would be taking a look at. Excuse me. There we go, just south of Lisbon. I just want to take one quick look at that other storm, which I know you said they haven't extended, and that's probably a good reason why. On radar, it's not necessarily indicating much there. But the area of concern is just south of Lisbon here with that storm. I think we got maybe a view, if you want to pull up Cedar Rapids north, Jax, and we can put that in our box, or we can maybe take that full screen briefly. You can see a little bit of a hint of something, whether it's a little bit of a wall cloud just to the left of that vertical white pole. Yeah. Could be a bit of a funnel cloud sticking down as well. It's a little bit wider than any of the ones we've seen so far tonight, so that's certainly something to keep an eye on. So let's go ahead and leave that box up there. But yeah, it's that area. We're looking to the southeast here from Cedar Rapids. Cedar Rapids, as you've also pointed out, pretty much not included in this warning. It's this area instead down toward Mount Vernon and Lisbon where we're keeping an eye on.
And the Jones County warning has now expired. It has not been reissued for a tornado warning. That same area is still under a severe thunderstorm warning, so keep that in mind. We do still have the tornado warning that does continue for the Sutliff area, just south of Lisbon, as Corey was pointing out. That will continue until 6:30. You see that right there on the screen. So that's the warning that currently remains in effect as far as a tornado warning. Farther to the west, those storms that were moving out of western Iowa along Interstate 80 into Iowa County were warned earlier across Poweshiek and Jasper County. No warning is issued for that cell now as it continues to push off toward the east. A little bit faster, but certainly producing some heavier areas of rain, but no warnings. That has expired as well in that area. And then we do have the severe thunderstorm warning that continues for that entire complex of storms that stretches from Lost Nation all the way back to and near Solon right now, even near the North Liberty area. Little activity starting to develop off to your north and west. That all under a severe thunderstorm warning, and that'll be in effect until 6:30 as well. And again, tornado possible, as we mentioned, numerous funnel clouds, as Corey saw, and you've been sending in. We have so many pictures of funnel clouds that have come in. We certainly appreciate that and appreciate you staying safe as you continue to move that through. Again, the warning that's in effect, it is a tornado warning that continues just south of Lisbon, particularly in the Sutliff to Lisbon area, kind of in between that area. Tornado warning continues. That would be across portions of Cedar, far western Cedar County, northern areas of Johnson, and far southern areas of Lynn County, Iowa City, Solon, Cedar Rapids, Mechanicsville, Lisbon. You are not included in this warning. So again, it's a small area that you need to be, again, taking shelter if you're in that area. Of course, lowest level is the safest place that you can be. Understand we have some pictures of some damage reports south of Cedar Rapids. Is that right, Tristan? Okay, we're going to take a look at a live picture right now. Okay, just east of Cedar Rapids, Ivanhoe and Japa Road. Looks like some trees down in that area. Certainly looked in the distance. You do notice the ominous looking clouds as well.
Our wall cloud potentially in the distance as well, so we got a good view of that.
Could that be something we were also picking up, the same one, although at a greater distance, from our Cedar Rapids City cam just moments ago? The storm spotter apparently saw a tornado in this area. And there's some of the damage that we're seeing right now. Again, looks like some trees down Ivanhoe and Japa Road in Lynn County. And in the distance again, you see that storm. So that area saw that storm move through with that potential tornadic damage from the trees that have moved through that area. That, again, a live picture from our crews that are out covering this right now, and I'm sure we'll hear more reports as they continue to check and cover that. A little wider view right now, again, kind of shows an isolated area of tree damage. Certainly could have touched down real quick and picked up As you mentioned, Corey, something that's common with this, if it's going to touch down at all, probably not going to last a long time.
Yeah, and that would be also the type of damage that we'd probably see with these types of funnels or tornadoes that could reach the ground. Tree damage is not good. If your car was driving under that tree, that would be bad, obviously. But it's not a particularly intense tornado in any regard. Looks like we have a new thunderstorm warning.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be just outside the TV9 viewing area. I know it does include a small sliver. Oh, it's back. It's across areas of Jackson County and points farther toward the west to the south, east of Maquoketa. So just outside the TV9 viewing area, that severe thunderstorm warning has been issued. We still have the one in effect until 6:30 for a large portion of northern Johnson. I would say most of Cedar County. Far southern Jones and the far southeastern corner of Lynn County. That's kind of the area right now that we continue to watch as that storm continues to basically remain stationary in many ways across the area. We'll put the lightning on for you again. You can see just the intense nature of the storm, certainly strong storm, frequent lightning within that storm compared to the lightning that we saw within the storms past Saturday as they were moving through. A little more energy with these storms in some way, but as Corey said, not quite the same setup that you get the classic tornadic setup that we see in some of the storms. Let's put into motion. And again, that's about the past hour or so. You notice it hasn't moved a lot, drifted to the south. Just basically drifted to the south, moving across Cedar County and still that far northeastern area of Johnson County with that movement. Do have that severe thunderstorm watch that does continue. So we are expecting, as we work our way through the remainder of the evening hours, that slowly that boundary will start to sink to the south. As it does, the storms will go with them. And that would mean it could move farther south into areas of Keokuk and Washington County as well, southern areas of Johnson County, areas of Iowa County. So keep that in mind. Damaging wind threat is still there, large hail threat, as well as that isolated tornadic threat as well is certainly possible as those storms continue to move through and move across portions of eastern Iowa. Cedar Rapids city cam right now, hard to distinguish exactly what we're seeing right now. I don't know if we can move it a little bit. We've kind of got some poles that might be in the way to see what's farther off toward the right side of our picture. But again, keep in mind that severe thunderstorm watch continues, and that also could contain that isolated chance of a tornado. For those of you just joining us for our 6 o'clock news, there you go. That's what we have. It's really one line that we'll be following and watching as we head through our evening hours. You notice that extends just to the south of Cedar Rapids. Still has to move through the Iowa City area, the Coralville area, North Liberty right now, seeing some areas that we are watching very carefully as well, with that developing storm just off to your west coming in from the Williamsburg area. We'll see if that produces anything in the way of severe weather. Right now, certainly not warned in any way, shape, or form, but it is moving in and certainly also could contain some hail just by the nature of the reflectivity that we're getting out of that storm as it continues to move through. And remember, this is an area that had some storms earlier today, continue to see more storms move through. So the ground is a bit saturated. Flash flooding could become an issue in some locations as well as those storms continue to slowly drift off to the south and southeast. Earlier, about 15 miles per hour, stationary for a period of time. Last report, maybe a 5 to 10 mile an hour drift as they move farther to the south.
Take a look at Max 2, show you that area of rotation again. Still, as Joe has been mentioning, sorry, Max 3, apologies. Max 3 is where you can see the area of rotation, as Joe's been mentioning. The storm's barely moving. It's still located south of Mount Vernon, or south of Lisbon, even south of the Highway 30 bypass there, in far southeastern Lynn County, east of Highway 1. So it's in a pretty rural area at this point if it's producing a tornado. It really has not moved a lot. In fact, I'll take this marker off and actually take our warning box off for just a second, and I will put it into a loop for just a second. You can see this area has stayed pretty stationary. You can see, if you use your imagination a little bit, you can see those reds and greens kind of curling around one another in the southeastern corner of Lynn County, and that's why we've seen that area of rotation develop. It's right in this spot, but at this point, it just really hasn't changed a lot. But that also means that the threat still is there. At least if it was worthy of the warning before from the National Weather Service, since nothing has changed, certainly good enough reason to keep it going. for that potential for a tornado to potentially touch down briefly here in far southeastern Lynn County. Just want to look at one other view here of the radar, of our debris detector. Nothing there in terms of any sort of ominous looking return from that. Same story here on our other velocity view. It's a little bit better on this one where you can see the reds and greens together. So yeah, it's just that area just between Highway 1 and Highway 30, far southeastern Lynn County.
I understand we have TV9's Abigail Curtin joining us. She was out looking at that potential damage, or the damage that we saw certainly from a potential tornado. What can you tell me, Abigail?
Well, right now I'm on Ivanhoe Road, just in between Ely and Cedar Rapids, and as you can see behind me, there is some storm damage. As you can see, about 2 trees, large trees, were knocked down. One of the spotters that we spoke with that was in the area said he did in fact see a tornado touch down. We're right here next to a cornfield, and you can actually see the area where the tornado likely touched down. There's been dirt ripped up, and further behind me, the road has actually been ripped up, the pavement itself. Now we've got several officers here on scene, and they're working to get this cleaned up as soon as we can. We've got a couple onlookers kind of just getting a view of the damage, but so far it seems pretty minimal. No significant damage to buildings. Doesn't look like anybody was hurt, so it could have been a lot worse, but there definitely is some damage out here. I'm live here near Ely. Abigail Curtin, KCRG TV9 News.
And we appreciate the report, Abigail. Thank you. That's our only damage report that we have right now. We're continuing, of course, our news crews to follow that damage as it potentially develops in some areas as well across portions of eastern Iowa, particularly now stretching from just off to the northwest of Solon. But I understand if we can put in the bottom box, Max 2, let's look at our Solon City Cam. Winds were picking up a little bit earlier. We're also looking at some heavy rains. Maybe we can pan that camera a little farther toward the left. Take a look at the skies in Solon as well. Not sure exactly. We might be looking toward the west. There we go. Yep, let's continue to pan
It's
that a
generally
little
north,
farther.
I think.
Okay, yeah, let's pan it a little farther toward the left. Again, kind of giving you an idea of what's falling across portions of eastern Iowa. Severe thunderstorm warning does continue in the Solon area. I would not be surprised to see a little bit in the way of some hail that could come out of that storm as well in the Solon area, as well as you can see at times some very, very heavy areas of rain. That continues across far northeastern areas of Johnson County, far southeastern areas of Lynn County. We still continue to see the severe thunderstorm warning. That's going to go until 6:30, so that's about the next 19 minutes or so. Let's go ahead and give you a quick view very close. And there you see the warning that's in effect for the tornado warning that we have. Again, that's what Corey has been following very carefully. Notice now just off to the northeast of Solon, the Sutliff area, that high reflectivity area, likely seeing some hail. We've had inch diameter hail reported from some of the storms earlier, so certainly some hail possible as well as that storm moves through. And then again, that rotation that Corey's been following and following on our city cams as well, that has led to potentially some damage as that storm earlier moved out of the Ely area and now moved toward areas of Johnson County into far western areas of Cedar County. Tornado warning does continue again until 6:30 for about the next 17 minutes or so in that same area as the storm remains. A slight movement, I would say, maybe just a little bit more movement to the south than we've seen a little bit earlier. But again, very heavy rains as well. Far southeastern areas of Lynn County. It's right on the border, Johnson and Lynn County, so we'll watch that as it moves out of Lynn County as well. And I think once these storms move farther to the south, once they move out, then Lynn County will be clear of that as well. And we're watching that storm move in from the Williamsburg area. That'll head right down Interstate 80. It's moving almost due east, right along that boundary that is set up with some very heavy rains and likely some frequent lightning out of that storm as well. Severe thunderstorm watch does continue for a good portion of southern Iowa. It's basically along and south of Highway 30, exactly where these storms developed. In effect until midnight, does extend across all of southern Iowa into a good share of eastern Illinois. Some damaging winds, large hail potential, as we said, heavy rain certainly with any of the storms, and as we said, that flood watch does continue for that same area as well. Across eastern Iowa. Atmosphere certainly set up for that with all the moisture that's out there. You felt it through the day and you continue to feel it as you step outside right now with the dew points throughout the day well into the 70s to near 80 degrees.
Doesn't take a lot on a day like today, like you said. Very, very juicy atmosphere. But things are getting better. There's already dew points down into the 50s in northern Iowa. A little taste of what's to come here across eastern Iowa tomorrow. It's just going to take a little bit of a process here to get some of this hot and humid air out of here. Yeah, I'm looking at Solon, seeing some low-hanging clouds in the lower right-hand side of your screen, but nothing that immediately shows funnel cloud or tornado. Some hail with this. Have we had any hail reports?
Some estimated hail of 1.25 inches across areas of southern Lynn, as well as portions of Johnson County as the storm was, Jones County as the storm was moving in. Also report in Johnson County close to 1.5 inches hail as well. So there has been some recent hail path. You can see exactly where we've talked about from the Lisbon area heading back toward the Solon area. We've been following that very carefully. It looks like the Clarence area as well, seeing that potential for some hail. Inch and a half in diameter. Certainly could see some larger hail later as we watch these storms continue to evolve and develop, but that's what we've been seeing as of right now. You're looking at the Solon City Cam in the lower right-hand corner of your picture. And of course we have the storm with the tornado warning on it. Just about out of Lynn County, still though in western areas of Cedar County, and of course a good share of northeastern corner. And again, nice small box as these storms have been slow moving. That's why the boxes have been so small. The storms haven't been moving rapidly, so the Weather Service really pinpointing the area of highest rotation and the areas that have had that report. So the boxes have not included large areas, not over-warning certainly, just warning the areas that need it as those storms continue to evolve and move through.
Yeah, very small warnings. In fact, that 5 to 15 mile per hour speed at most that we've seen of these storms so far, really highlighting that. If we look at max 3 on the big box there, just that area of rotation that could be near the Solon area, a little bit of reorganization, another area that could be north of Sutliff, but that's kind of on an odd part of the storm. I would expect more that area near Solon could be the one that is perhaps the most ominous, but we've got a good view of that area on our city cam, and we're not seeing much there, which is good news there. Just kind of looking at some information off the screen. As you go up in the storm, the rotation is weaker than it was, so the overall organization of the storm might be down a little bit in the past, let's say, 10 to 15 minutes. And that's what we've seen from both our city cam views and from our radar views as well, which is good news. This warning continues for another 15 minutes. We'll have to see what the National Weather Service decides to do as it continues to slowly move. And you can see there on your screen as well, down below where it says Tuesday 6:30, it says hail size none at this point. So at least this part of the storm, they're not too concerned about that.
From the hail point of view.
Yeah, the hail point of view, at the very least. Yeah.
Still concerned about it and still continue to watch it, certainly. We have had no additional reports since the earlier report as that storm moved through of any additional funnel clouds lately, certainly. That's good news. That's what we'd like to see as that storm continues to evolve and move across portions of eastern Iowa. And again, it's a very small area right now of direct concern. That doesn't mean those of you near Twin Heights, Cedar Bluff, eventually into Tipton. Won't see some of these storms continue to move through as well. But the main concern, of course, is the areas of rotation that Corey has been pointing out as that storm continues to slowly drift into northern areas of Johnson and portions of Cedar County. Farther west, the storms do extend just to the southeast of Des Moines. We notice that storm just south of Marengo right now, just north of North English, continuing to move off toward the east. Eventually intersecting with the storms that are near the Iowa City area. So Iowa City likely going to see eventually some heavier areas of rain, Coralville area as well, North Liberty as well. I wonder if we can bring up our Coralville City Cam pointed off toward the northwest, kind of take a look, or west on that. We'll take a look. And again, move our city cams around, take a look at what we're finding in different areas. Did show you some Iowa DOT cams earlier when there were some funnel clouds being sighted. Haven't had a lot of reports of any additional funnel clouds of recent as these storms continue to take a little different path as they're moving down toward the south and east. Now certainly moving through a good share of Iowa County south of Marengo, just to the north of North English. And then as we move into areas of northern Johnson County, some development, of course, we've talked about Solon heading into northern Cedar County. Most of that activity is now out of Jones County as well. We'll kind of pinpoint that for you once again. There you see Highway 30. And there's still a little bit of activity near the Oxford Junction area. The majority of the activity right now looks to be well south of Lisbon. Most of that has moved into Johnson County right now. Again, that small red box that you see, that is the tornado warning that's in effect. The third tornado warning we've had as these storms have evolved and moved through. Still in effect for portions of Lynn County, but it looks like, again, main area of rotation, as Corey was seeing, was farther down toward the south in areas of Johnson County. That will continue until 6:30, so that would take us for about the next 10 minutes or so.
Couple of storms out there, and they're really starting to maybe sort of consolidate. That would reduce the risk of a tornado for sure, and they may actually start to move a little bit if they get a little bit more organized into a line and start to sag further to the south. But you can see that what were a handful of individual cells on that radar view have now turned into something a little less individualized, which again is not the worst thing in the world. It may increase the damage and wind risk a little bit, but it would not be bad for our tornado risk, which is already, again, fairly low today across most of the area. There is one area on Max 3 that's a little bit outside of one of our warning boxes that would be of mild concern. It's this over here in Iowa County, a little bit of mild rotation, but I believe that's more the storm itself than a sort of localized tornadic activity, which could indicate maybe a little bit of a hail risk in eastern Iowa County, not under warning at this point, but sometimes those storms can strengthen a little bit, but that has also changed in the past couple of new updates from the radar and shown a little bit of decrease. So it's just a very brief window of opportunity for these storms today.
And we mentioned that potential for hail. Do have a report of pea-size hail and some stronger winds by the Sutliff Tap over in Johnson County. So again, there certainly was some hail within that storm. Thankfully, not large hail, but some pea-size hail reported from that cell that is now moving through again, continues across areas of northern Johnson County, but as you said, it may be picking up a little bit of movement farther down toward the south to kind of move those through some of the counties, most of Johnson County as well. There you see our Coralville City Cam. We're going to pan that a little farther off to the west so we can take a look and kind of widen that picture out for you. Just kind of see what the sky is looking like in the Coralville area. Right now, we certainly are looking almost straight to the north right now, where we do have some storms that you're looking at that are moving out of the North Liberty area, continuing to bring some heavy areas of rain, certainly some lightning within the system as well. Haven't seen much in the way of any damaging wind reports, which is good news. So far, haven't seen that at all out of these storms. It's been the tornadic threat and a few hail reports that have been out there as well. Again, nothing that is causing any major problems across the area.
No, and that is the good news. I believe Abigail was on the one location where we've seen even really any particular damage of consequence. There's our Coralville view looking off to the west. Lots of heavy rain in particular out in that area. In the Coral Ridge area, just north of Interstate 80, you can see a little bit of clearing on the right side of your screen on that lower right box presenting just a little bit of area where rain isn't falling in between at least a couple of these individualized cells. But at this point, it looks like a lot of heavy rain looking off to the west as we pan just a little bit. Excuse my quick motions there, not trying to give anybody a dizziness from doing that for sure. But we're looking around and just not seeing a lot. A lot of gray, a lot of dark skies, probably a decent amount of thunder in some spots. But at this point, just an ominous looking storm.
And I would say ominous, but not any major areas right now that we're seeing anything that is presenting any damage. We've had the one report, Ivanhoe Road and Joppa Road from Abigail earlier, showed the tree damage. Somebody did report that a tornado touched down there briefly, caused that damage, the tree damage that we saw. Other than that, have had no other reports, and Tristan's been checking the power companies as well. No reports of power outages in the area, which again would be reminiscent of the fact we haven't heard much as far as strong wind. We've heard a couple of hail reports, some small hail, of course, and then we also have Some reports of some very heavy rains in spots. So far, no flash flooding in the area, and if we can get these to move a little bit farther toward the south and not continue to sit in the same area, we could eliminate some of that flash flood threat as well. But there's still a long ways to go, certainly, as that storm continues to move through as we head through the evening hours. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning that's just been issued. And that will take that storm that we've been following that had moved out of Poweshiek County, now moving through portions of Iowa County, near the Williamsburg area, as well as into far east or western areas of Johnson County, western areas of Washington County, and northern areas and northeastern areas of Keokuk County. That is a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect, and that will be in effect until 7:15. Again, you can look for the potential that in that area that there could be some stronger winds. Hail, though, is probably the one thing they're really watching in that cell for northeastern Keokuk, west central Johnson, northwestern Washington, and Iowa County. This reportedly moving east at about 40 miles per hour. So they are expecting that development to continue farther down toward the south. And again, continue that activity with the potential for some hail that could be an inch in diameter. And of course, 60-mile-an-hour winds are also possible as that storm moves through. So we'll watch that carefully as well. But that's the one that had not been warned on at this time that we were looking at again, looking in the distance. Can't quite tell, but that's the storm you're looking at from our Coralville City Cam as well, as it moves right along Interstate 80 and heads off to the east. Now they said, what, at about 40 miles per hour. So a little bit faster movement on that storm. We could go ahead and put a little storm track on it as well. Finally has some movement that you can actually track as those storms are moving through. And again, we'll kind of look at the front edge of this storm, move it down to the south, and project it out maybe the next 40, 45 minutes. Iowa City, maybe about 6:44 that storm arrives. Kelowna around 6:54, Riverside 6:58, West Liberty into Muscatine County at about 7:07, North English about 6:32, just to kind of give you some indications in time of movement as those storms continue to move through. And again, severe thunderstorm warning, potential for some hail, an inch in diameter, as well as some 60-mile-per-hour winds.
And the tornado warning that is in effect for southeastern Lynn and northeastern Johnson County goes until 6:30, but the Weather Service is going to let it expire at 6:30. Based on their latest indication, they believe that the rotation is weak enough at this point that they're not considering extending it right now, at the very least. Things can change, of course. We still do see perhaps a little bit of weak rotation on this storm in far northeastern Johnson County, kind of located to the northeast of Solon. Have very heavy rain falling in the Solon area right now, but the overall indication is of just a relatively disorganized storm, certainly producing heavy rain. That general area is still under a severe thunderstorm warning for some wind gusts and some potential hail, but the tornadic threat seems to be diminishing at this point, at least for a couple more minutes technically under that warning.
And again, we're glad that we've only had the one reported bit of damage right now. We'll continue to follow that certainly, and hopefully we don't have to worry about additional tornadic damage. That does not mean we still couldn't see some damaging winds across portions of the TV9 viewing area. Still have to get through this through Keokuk, Washington, the rest of Johnson County, and the remainder of Cedar County as well, as those storms continue to move off toward the south and east. And as we look back farther toward the west, just to see what type of development we have. There's still those cells moving out of Polk County right now, just off to the southeast of Des Moines as well. They'll head down toward the south and east, so we'll see what that could evolve into, and if it does take more of an easterly track as well eventually, and could move across some of our southern counties as we move through the remainder of our evening hours. Farther to the north, those of you north of Highway 30, there could still be an isolated shower, a sprinkle here or there. There's a couple that are showing. We see that across Allamakee County as well, but that's not going to be anything severe. The severe threat really confined to southern areas of Iowa, as we've been talking about, and that tornado warning, which will be allowed to expire in the next 2 minutes or so, will remain, though, with 2 severe thunderstorm warnings still in effect. So you do need to take these storms seriously if you are in portions of Iowa, Keokuk, Washington, as well as Johnson and Cedar counties, as that storm continues to move toward the south. Watch out for the potential for damaging winds, as well as the potential also for some large hail up to about 1 inch to 1.25 inches in diameter as those storms move through. Certainly, if you can be in your safe place, that's the best place to go as these storms move through. Frequent lightning also expected, as we've seen from these storms, as they're moving across portions of southeastern Iowa.
And the best news here is that, as you haven't been able to get to in this half hour with your forecast, is that this is it for tonight.
True.
And then we will have some really comfortable and nice days coming up in the next couple of days.
Yeah, I mean, the dew points are going to drop. That's the first thing. So you're going to noticeably feel that tomorrow. Wednesday, Thursday look absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Now there's another round of showers and storms Friday. How strong those could be later on Friday, how much rain they could bring. Another threat on Friday for some heavy rains. And then we eventually have even better weather ahead Sunday, Monday of next week if we really want to look ahead. So although it's been active and very hot and humid, we're seeing more days not with the high heat and humidity than we've seen for the past week.
Yeah, trending downward, I would say. Even that Sunday, Monday time period, we could be talking a little taste of late spring instead of late summer like we've been experiencing.
Ready
lately.
for it, and it will feel good. I'll tell you that when we finally get to that. So why don't you give us one more round, Robin, of what you've got. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning. Let me get to that first.
Yep.
It's kind of on top of the box that's on top of the box. So basically, let's extend that severe thunderstorm warning until not till 6:30. This likely will go till about 7 or 7:15. It will go until 7:45. Slow movement on the storms. That will take it through Johnson County and all of Cedar County. So again, Johnson and Cedar County, you are going to be under a severe thunderstorm warning, the potential for some damaging winds, some larger hail about 1 inch in diameter, and the possibility, of course, of a tornado that could develop, but not in the moment in that area. That'll be in effect until 7:45. Along with that, there'll be some heavy areas of rain.
We can look at Max 2, or Max 3 real quick, rather. Just the general area of this storm. Again, no clear rotation at this point, which is why they've gone ahead and let that tornado warning expire. So you saw it just drop off. And as Joe's just describing, replacing it with a warning that has that tornado possible tag that they've introduced in the past few years here from the National Weather Service to kind of indicate a storm that they're keeping an eye on, like you said. But these storms, the progress of them has been slow, and you can see not a lot of change in our overall velocity picture in the last hour or so. Still some perhaps very broad rotation, but we've got great views from our city cams, and we've been keeping a close eye on that. Our weather intern, Jax, has been keeping things navigated there, and we've been looking at them off screen too, and things look pretty okay. So it's probably safe to say we can take a break and certainly take shelter when these storms go by, but the tornadic threat, at least at this point, is dissipated.
Yeah, we'll continue to scroll on the bottom of your screen, the information. And of course, if there is some damaging threat that develops or another tornado warning that develops, we will be here once again. Thank you again for joining us on behalf of our weather intern, Jack Stelzer, meteorologist Corey Thompson, and myself. Again, stay with us here. We're going to continue to track the storms, and we'll interrupt programming as needed. Keep it here on your trusted local news and weather source, KCRG TV 9.
Severe weather on KCRG TV 9, sponsored by AmeriClean.